this is something which I can never achieve.
I think you should be very, very careful about that.
What are the steps that I should take immediately in the next 2 to 3 months?
I think that this is a disaster for small businesses in America and for a lot of students who maybe do not have a lot of work experience.
Is it necessary for me to work for someone else, or can I do my own company work on an OPT?
When the director spoke, he spoke about chopping all of OPT, which was extreme. USCIS director suggested getting rid of OPT.
There's a lot of chances that it can get rejected, and there's a lot of scrutiny.
And it will delay your case.
What can students do to kind of make their application or their entire interview much more smoother? Hello everyone, today we are joined by Daniel. He is an immigration lawyer in the US, and we're just having a chat about how immigration law works and all about that.
Hi, my name is Daniel Larson. I'm the founder of Larson Legal. I specialize in EB-1A, O1, and NIW cases, mostly self-sponsored cases for artists, academics, and other professionals.
Thank you for the introduction, and I just wanted to ask, how long have you been doing this immigration?
I've been practicing for over 10 years, but in 2023, I founded my law firm. After working as an associate attorney, and I have almost exclusively focused on self-sponsored cases for various professionals.
So, just a brief chat about before we start about what's going on in this current market and current country immigration and everything. What made you start immigration law in the first place?
I had an internship, and I really discovered that I can meet people from all over the world, of all different professions, and it's wonderful. The people make this practice the best. The varied professions that you encounter each and every day.
The question for you is, when students or young professionals, they hear the word green card, especially people from where I am from, India or maybe other Asian countries who have a very long backlog, they think about oh, this is something which I can never achieve. This is something which I can never do, because they just look at EB2 and EB3 pathways. Yeah, but there are a lot of other pathways. So what do you have to say?
Well, I think that what potential students who are stuck in the backlog, in the EB2 backlog, what they should think about is taking a step-by-step approach and looking at where they are in their career, and perhaps maybe it is good to lock in a priority date with an EB2 petition, either employer-sponsored or a national interest waiver.
Right.
Because what has happened is that I have been able, recently this year, I've gotten many Indian professionals here in Silicon Valley who had a previously approved a priority date, EB2, an EB1, and they can use that date for their subsequent adjustment of status.
Oh, so you mean if I'm on EB2 and I have a priority date for EB2, if I file for EB1A, EB1B,
you can use that back date, you can transfer it. And so that's one of the, it's one of the best ways to get a stepping stone, so that to make yourself current, to build up to the point where you can get the EB1.
Wow, I never knew that. So basically and does this process take a very long time to just transfer from EB2 to
No, the transfer is actually almost automatic, and it's very easy to, when you file the adjustment of status, you just note the relevant regulation, and that's that. It's a very easy transfer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And so we've been throwing out terms like EB2, EB3, and a lot of my audience is people who are still planning to come to the US, and they are still planning out their applications, or they are just taking their flights or whatever.
Right.
So what are the different, I've heard that there's EB1 through EB5, there are 5 different categories.
Right. Yes.
Can you just give a brief about all of them?
Sure. I can give a brief overview. So the category that I work in the most these days is EB1A. EB1A is for extraordinary ability. It is for professionals in the top 1% of their field. It can be any type of professional, but you have to meet 3 out of 10 criteria. And it's very, very tough. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of applicants, especially from India and China.
Right.
And a lot of very, very qualified, extraordinary individuals.
Yeah, that's what the visa means.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Another category that I focus on, and Deshna and I have had tremendous success with this is it's called the EB1B, Outstanding Researchers. And with outstanding researchers, you need to meet 2 out of 6 criteria, and it needs to be sponsored by your employer or university.
Got it.
And it's a fantastic avenue that is often overlooked, I would say.
Right.
But here in Silicon Valley, there is a lot of people who are doing activities that would be that we can consider as research.
Yeah.
And so it's a tremendous opportunity. Another category that I don't handle as many, but it's very, very common with Indian applicants, especially in finance, is the EB1C.
Okay.
That's for managers and executives. And if you are here in the United States and you are willing to work a year abroad for the subsidiary of the company, you can come back to the U.S. as long as you're managing other professionals.
Got it. So just to break it down, like it's like an L1 visa, but for green card?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's very, very similar to the L1, but it's for green card. Why do they not do the green card first?
Yeah.
Well, because the L1 is faster. You can get that automatically, or very quickly. Whereas the EB1C takes a while before they didn't even have premium process. I have to check actually if they have for premium for EB1C.
Okay.
But that was one of the big impediments in it, the length of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also employers are reluctant to start the green card process, even though it's easy for them, because for various reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just to some of the EB1C category, because I think that's very interesting and not a lot of people know about it.
Yeah.
You work for, let's say, X company in the US and you want to get on the EB1C pipeline. So that company would then have to send you out to any other country except the US for 1 year?
Yes, at an office that they own,
Yeah.
a subsidiary that they own.
Got it.
And then what you do for these type of petitions is that you show that you're managing other professionals.
Got
and
it.
so when you submit the petition, you show the client is at the top of the is a manager, clearly a manager, and then below him or her, there is underlings and they all have degrees and they're college professionals. Yeah.
And then there is EB2 and 3. That's mostly for bachelor's and master's students.
Well, no, EB2 can be used by PhD. I use it for PhD recipients all the time. EB2 is the second preference category, and there's 2 things that are relevant in this category. There's the employer sponsorship through the PERM process, and one of the reasons, and then there's a self-sponsored national interest waiver, which is a waiver of the traditional job offer requirement, which is part of the PERM process.
Yeah, so a lot of people mention NIW, and I think that's what the national interest waiver.
That is exactly what it is. Yes, that's right.
Got it. So for someone who is between the ages of 22 to 28, like people who actually come here for their master's or their PhD, usually from India or China, what pathways do you, according to you, is the fastest or the best for them?
I think that what I was saying about the stepping stone technique, I think this is very important, especially for those who are engaged in research and academic they have publications, citations, presentations in their field, maybe as part of their master's or PhD. These are excellent evidentiary criteria that you can use for a national interest waiver, or even non-immigrant case in 01.
Got it.
So if you are working in that type of if you're in a program where you naturally publish, this is wonderful, and you can use this as evidence of for the national interest waiver.
Your case, right?
Yes.
Got it.
It opens doors. I would say that for a regular college graduate, the options are a little bit more limited in the sense that the national interest waiver and the 01, you really have to show that you've made a difference in the field that you've impacted your field in some discernible way. Whereas for most college graduates, I think that you would probably look at getting into the H-1B lottery after the usually the H-1B lottery after STEM OPT is the way to go.
Got it.
Yeah.
So we'll discuss some F1 and H1B visa questions if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Awesome.
Sure.
So one of my followers recently messaged me that with the latest social media updates and checks for F1 visa, there's a lot of chances that it can get rejected and there's a lot of scrutiny. What can students do to kind of make their application or their entire interview much more smoother?
Well, I think that like in today's, I hate to say this, and I'm a strong advocate of free speech, and I believe that students have the right to, international students when they come to the United States are protected under the First Amendment. However, right now the Trump administration, they've explained that they're still interested in social media of international students, and they're scrutinizing that evidence. So right now, I think that you are supposed to make sure that your social media is public, so that the consular officers can look at it and vet it before you come to the United States.
So a lot of people were also mentioning that, I'll just make my profile private, like for example, Instagram.
That is a bad idea. They do have access. They can figure out that if it's private or public, and it will delay your case. So I think routine, normal social media of benign nature, of I like photos of cats, I like photos, food, etc. I think that's okay. But and things of political nature, I would be hesitant as an international student to post those. I think, especially right before you go for the U.S. visa, I think you should be very, very careful about that.
Another question I get a lot is my F1 visa, like people who are on their OPT and are just finishing their OPT of all 3 years, but they ask like, my F1 visa is expiring soon, but I still have a valid I-20 and OPT status, and it does not expire for another X months. Can I go out of the US and then come back on the same visa?
The visa is an entry document, and it's negotiated by treaty. So and when they give you an F1 visa, they will give you often they will say your status is DS, and they'll give you the visa for a set duration. So if the visa has expired and you are still on valid F1 status, and you are doing the activities on OPT, you're working for the employer that you said, you can go and pick up another visa for F1. It's not risky to do that. I think, it depends on the situation, but I think that in the vast majority of situations where they're doing what they said they were doing on OPT, it should be fine.
Right now, if you look on the internet, if you go onto Twitter or wherever, you see a lot of people bashing the H1B or the OPT program. And
I think that's horrible.
But do you think that there is a danger, like all of these bills being introduced in the parliament for Congress?
I think that one of the bills that I think is very relevant to international students, or not bills but discussions, is the way that they are going to change the H-1B lottery, so that to focus on higher wages, for selections that are jobs that are given for higher wages versus things. I think that this is a disaster for small businesses in America and for a lot of students who maybe do not have a lot of work experience and they want to get into to the market. So that's something that I am very concerned about, and I think it'll be implemented, but there's going to be a lot of court challenges to it, because the actual statute says that it's the language of the statute makes it so that it encourages a lottery. It's not they encourage it first come first serve. The language, it's of that nature, and a system based on higher wages versus is not a first come first serve.
Correct.
So I am that's an area that I'm concerned about. I think that I'm also very concerned about attempts to things like I heard that the USCIS director suggested getting rid of OPT.
Right, exactly.
Now, luckily, OPT is enshrined in the regulation, so that is very difficult to do.
Right.
Congress would have to pass a bill, or they have to change the regulation. Those are the two major ways.
Right.
But a rule change, there could be, there's a whole spectrum of rule changes that could be implemented that could make it harder. And so that's something I think we should focus on. And I encourage defending OPT. I think it's a great program.
Have you actually heard about what kind of changes could they bring into the OPT program, if they could?
When the director spoke, he spoke about chopping all of OPT, which was extreme. But I think that like the OPT, STEM OPT, it hasn't been around that long.
Okay.
And so like I think if they're going to chop something, then they might consider that.
Oh, okay.
But or shorten it or something of that nature. But it's a little bit hard to predict exactly what will actually stick,
right?
What won't.
Right. So again, this is the question which I get asked a lot.
Okay.
Like I'm a student and I just graduated and I don't want to keep lingering myself over the H-1B lottery thing, and I want to apply for O1 or EB1 visa and something like that. So what are some steps that after I have graduated, like I don't have access to any research, publications or all of that, what are the steps that I should take immediately in the next 2 to 3 months?
Well, I think that like one of the best things that an international student can do, or that's here in the United States, after they graduate, is if they have if they feel like they would like to have a startup or an entrepreneurial endeavor, to incorporate.
Right.
Because this opens up the door for a potential O1 case and also beneficiary ownership O1 H1B.
Right.
And so like I think if you have to ask yourself, is this your true calling, or do you want to work for somebody else? Do you want to work for yourself? But if for those who have that inclination to work for themselves, incorporate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that way you can, like, how does the self-sponsor of the H1B work? I've seen this coming up in the news.
Yes.
That you can now self-sponsor your H1B for yourself.
Yes.
How does that entire thing work?
Well, it works just like a normal H1B. The only difference is that you are the owner. You can submit as an owner of a company. It is completely okay to submit an entry into the lottery. It's completely okay to petition for yourself.
Right.
Things. It has to be a specialty occupation.
Okay.
You cannot be doing mundane tasks, even if you're just a one person.
Right.
100% has to be specialty occupation work.
What are some examples of specialty occupations?
Specialty occupation work is work that requires a college degree or higher, and that they can discern. There's a coursework. There's a plan. So examples of mundane work, like stapling things, answering the phone. These don't count as qualified duties for an H1B.
So for someone who is a doctor, a lawyer, a software engineer.
Well, if you were let's say you're a software engineer and you wanted to have a startup, what you would do is you'd say, hey, I am going to outsource all of these mundane tasks to different companies, to different services, and I am only going to focus on writing code. Right. And I'm not going to focus on answering the phone or etc. or just the mundane tasks associated with a business.
Got it. So I'd have a secretary or something.
Yeah, you'd have a service like dial pad or something to provide that. And then when you submit your case to USCIS, you say my duties are I am the technical lead, and I only do coding. I only design systems,
right,
etc.
After I have graduated my university, is it necessary for me to work for someone else, or can I do my own company work on an OPT?
Yes, you can on an OPT and STEM OPT. You could work for your own startup, and when you the sensitivity is actually at the STEM OPT phase. What you're going to have to do is you're going to enroll in E-Verify. That's a requirement of STEM OPT. All companies have to be an E-Verify, and then you have to design and develop a training plan for yourself. The training plan is not that difficult, but what would you include on the training plan? You would include maybe if you're a startup of one, maybe you would incorporate with a board of directors, a friend or somebody a mentor, if you will. And then on the training plan, you would have him or her explaining that they're going to mentor you in the duties of the startup.
Right.
And this model is perfect for O1 too, because in an O1 case, later down the road, if your startup or company gets big and you get press coverage and media, etc., you can use this model for the STEM OPT for the O1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming this is the same thing we talked about, that you can also apply for your H1 through this
Yes.
model as well.
I think that if given I'm also often asked, what's the beneficiary ownership H1B is a very, very new program.
Okay.
And practitioners like myself, we're still trying to figure out where USAS stands on these cases. Right. There might be hiccups down the road. O1 and STEM OPT for startups is a very, very routine matter.
Got it.
So it's a little bit, I would say that it's not safer, but it's just that it's we're very familiar with it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you mentioned that when someone is shifting from a OPT or something to an O1 or an EB1A, you need to get press coverage. Like you mentioned some terms like that. Can you, for people watching this, what are some categories that are easy to achieve for your O1 or EB1A application?
Well, I think that one of the easiest categories is judging the work of others. Right. If you attend hackathons, or sometimes there's here in San Francisco and Silicon Valley, there's often events where there's pitch decks. If you were judging some of these events, that counts.
Okay.
So I often tell clients to pursue this.
Right.
Another easy category, if you, I think for people who have work experience, if you've showed that you've worked for a distinguished organization in a critical capacity, this is a pretty straightforward category. I'd also say that maybe, the evidence is easy if you've been well compensated previously. That category is one that we just provide the data, and that's it. We provide that you things. But in general, I think reviewing the work of others is probably one of the easier categories to meet. But I always encourage what really drives these cases is press. And it could be international press. It can be also even things like the university alumni magazine, or some of the clubs, they present newsletters. This can potentially be used in these type of cases.
So does it have to be, so when you're talking about press, does the press which counts towards O1 and EB1 application, does it have to be some press talking about yourself, or can you be interviewed for something completely else and they just had your coverage in it?
The gold standard is if you're interviewed by the publication about your ideas, your concepts, your philosophy, that's the best. Okay. But if you were interviewed and you were talking about issues in your field or something like that, or a brief mention of your name, that of course we're going to take that type of things and use it for the case. Right. But I always encourage my clients to, when given an opportunity, go to these interviews and take it, do it.
Got it.
Yeah.
So just an example, just tell me if this is a good pointer for EB1 or O1 applications or not. So I was recently interviewed by a press in India, and they wanted me to comment on the recent immigration changes. Since I create content myself, they asked me to comment on recent immigration changes. What are my followers asking me? And all of those things. Is that an example of a good or a bad press?
Well, I think that potentially for your case, almost all press is good.
Okay.
And so the fact that they're asking you about U.S. immigration and they're seeking your advice, and
Yeah.
they're seeking. I think that that would be fantastic. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
I would.
And another question, so like just closing things out about
Sure.
what you work. So you help people make their O1, EB1A, EB1B, and all of these applications strong.
Right.
What kind of things do you look out for as a baseline? If someone were to, so like, for example, if some of my follower was to approach you and ask you, I want to get an O1 card or an O1 visa.
Well,
What should I
usually I ask the potential clients, could you show me your CV?
Yeah.
And what I'm usually looking for is like, is there publication? Is there presentations? Is there some, how has this person let others know about what they've done and why it's important?
Right.
So when on the CVs, if I see publications, I immediately start thinking about national interest waiver and potentially EB1A if it looks extremely impressive. I think most potential clients have already researched these categories a little bit themselves,
Yeah.
and so that they can answer, this is what I think I need, and that's actually
Right.
quite helpful. I encourage everybody to research these categories, especially I think O1 is much more flexible than people traditionally understand.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I also had a thinking that O1 visa is something which is very hard for me to achieve, and it's something that I need to create 10 publications.
No. O1, the regulations make it look like it's similar to EB1A, but in practice it's much easier. And many, especially here in Silicon Valley and San Francisco, a lot of tech professionals and recent graduates who have some of the 3 out of the 10 criteria, that it's a very viable route. I actually think of it as a new H1B. It's something that is a little bit more flexible. There's no lottery. There's no minimum salary. There's a lot of elements that make it attractive. Yeah.
How does the process for an O1 visa work? So just to ask you, like, what I mean by process is, when I file it, for example, with you, you help me file it. Do I need to go back to my home country to get my visa?
No. In most instances, you can do a change of status here in the United States. Okay. It's up to the client. Some of my clients actually do want to go abroad and come back in when they're ready or things. But for those who want to stay, we have to check what status they're in and if we can file the case while they're still in status. Right. But if so, they should be able to stay here.
So, and how would it work when I come to you? So, for example, I found your law firm online, and I found, you help people do this. So, how do I approach you? What do you do after that? So what's your process like?
Sure. I can tell you the process. Usually, I have people, approach me on LinkedIn or email me, and they will send them their CV over, and then I will evaluate the CV and say, hey, I think maybe you would fit this category, and if they're interested, here's a link to schedule a consultation. Once I schedule the consultation, I usually go and let them know, like, if you want to retain my services, we can do that. And as soon as you're retained, we'll start working on the case. And in most of the cases, what we focus our time on is the letters of support. Okay. And make sure the letters of support are well drafted and adequately describe the importance of the active client.
Awesome. So if it's okay with you, from the next episode that we do, I'll have a few CVs with me of my followers, like maybe 2 or 3, and then we can review them live and show people that, okay, this is a very normal looking CV, but it still could be a possible O1 candidate.
Sure, we can do that. Awesome. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. It was super nice talking to you. Do you have any last statements to?
No, I just want to. I think that in this day and age, where there's so much, kind of rumors about what's going on here in the United States, that I would like to encourage people that there's a lot of Americans. We still want international students here, and we think we value them, and we think that they contribute a lot to American society. So, welcome.
Yep, that was a very awesome closing statement. And we'll see you guys in the next episode, which is probably going to be 2 or 3 weeks from now. We are planning to do this every other week, so let's see how that goes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.